Hi, this is Shooting. So, for the first week provocation, I think the part of my background knowledge drawn to understand the test is about the concepts of hunting, family relationships, animals, places in the forest, also the timing. Hunting is like going out for food, hunt for some animals, and maybe the plants it also can be food, but it's not hunting. And the family relationship, the test is talking about brother and sister, and a cousin, aunt, uncle, something like that. Also, animal including wallaby and crocodile. And the places in the forest is like the grass and the billabong. And I have to know about crocodiles living in a billabong. Also, the wallabies just like eating grasses. I also have to know about the timing about daytime and nighttime, because in daytime people get up, do things, and during nighttime they went to sleep. They fall asleep, and maybe some animals come out. About the words that just really I really like is clan. It's the nice to clan to everything, and billabong maybe it means the lake, and also hissed. Go to sleep, he hissed, like shouting some kind of expression. And yes, I have to know about the wallabies and crocodile, what did these words mean, and it means some kind of animals. I have to know about that. Also, the situated knowledge, I think, it means like Kaya's comprehensive understanding of culture, environment, family, and survival skills, which are integral parts of his life and helping cope with challenges at critical moments. The way I identify the culture of the other is about the four things. One is living places, and then the names, also behaviors and activities. In living places, I saw forest and also campfire. The name Kaya is named after a spear. Also, his sister's name is Gulara. Also, their behavior is like hunting and sleeping beside the campfire. Also, the activities including dancing by the firelight. So I think this kind of behavior and activities is just really unique and different from us. So I think the culture is maybe Aboriginals, and it's Aborigines. It's not a city life. So last but not least, the implication for year 3 teacher, I think, is using this kind of really gorgeous story to arouse children's curiosity and their interest in reading. And also, the story texture makes students getting to know about the words and expressions, and also foster to understand the meaning and the culture in the text, and also improve their English reading ability in a proper way. Hi, this is Shooting. So now I'm talking about week 2 provocation. One of my favorite movie is哪吒Conquered the Dragon King. This is a Chinese movie, and the story is really fascinating and eye-catching. So I think it's really the kids will really like this movie, because it's a cartoon, but also with some magic in it. The story imagine a world full of magic and power, and there are gods and demons living in the world. But they're living in separate places, and there are also gods in every places. Like in the sea, there is a dragon king, and in the sky, there is some fairy, and maybe the Yuhuang Empire. It's like the sky is almost just his sky, and there's many fairies living in the sky. But also there are demons, like哪吒is one of them. It's really represent evil. As for the cultural understanding, I think the order half is like almost like 3 points. Um, Firstly, although it's rooted in Chinese legend story, but also the order reshape it with the modern twist, giving the old stories a fresh energy. For example, Nuja goes from the classic rebel to a self-aware hero. His line, "My fate is mine to decide," which is a really power move, echoing modern youth craving for freedom. Also, this movie is a mixing culture with universal themes while keeping Chinese vibe alive. The director aims for global emotional hooks. Naja's fight against destiny sparks thoughts on nature versus nurture, making the film relatable worldwide. Last but not least, it's a real-world critique. Through the movie, the director throws shade at real-life issues by talking about the fight between celestial courts and the dragon clan. Mirrors real-world power struggles. I think Nuja's rebellion is just not personal. I think it's a protest against the unfairness. Hi, this is shooting. So now I'm doing the provocation for week 3. The first learning approach in this video, I think, is a play-based learning approach. They're doing a lot of inquiry learnings. I think it can attach to Mrs. Till's classroom, a portrait of literacy teaching and learning using cognitive theory and a skill-based model. I talk about this is because when looking in the video, I saw them learning through practice, and rewards is a process where students engage with specific triggers or stimulus like books, toys, or in this video, like the case is artifacts. I got this knowledge from the book recommended by Jenny. And also, I saw these materials often symbolize consistency in language patterns or learning frameworks that guide the activity. For example, the stimulus is the boat crafted by the students and the water tank provided by the teacher. The action student experiments by placing the boat in the water, observing how it moves, and also adjusting its design, etc. What's more, the language and pattern is the teacher frames the task using consistent vocabulary or instructions. For example, like float, sink, adjust the sail, something like that. Lastly is the reward. The success is the boat floating, so reinforces the connection between action and outcome. While feedback trying widening the base ties language to a problem solving. This setup creates a loop: stimulus, action, language pattern, and the reward, all while embedding repetition and structure. The key is that the materials, boat and water tank, aren't just props, they're tools to anchor learning in a tangible and predictable way. So the second teaching approach is they begin with the story in the class. This may be a narrative story. I mean the children doing the reading with teacher together and tell the teacher what learning happens there, and also they're doing reflection together. By doing the reflection, maybe the teacher lets students write down something they're really interested in. I remember a child write her friend's name, although it's wrong, but teacher also gave her encouragement, which is really sweet. And I think this is really have connection with Mrs. Battle's classroom, a portrait of literacy and teaching and learning using psycholinguistic theory and a whole language model. Which means that the teacher creates a learning activity where students build literacy skills by talking about what they will learn about, writing it down, In this way, the children practice listening to instructions or peers, and speaking, sharing ideas verbally, also reading texts or prompts, and writing, just jotting down thoughts, all just in one go. Hi, this is Shooting, so I'm doing the week 4 provocation. I read this poem. This is a really lovely poem. I think the phonetic knowledge employed in this poem by A.A. Milne, published in the collection, Now We're 6, can be discussed from the following aspects. The first one is rhyme. The use of rhyme in this poem enhances its rhythm and memorability. For example, the short U sounds in rhymes like begun, new, me, more, alive, and clever, as well as the end rhymes in 6 now and forever. The second one is alliteration. It's alliteration. The use of alliteration also adds to the musicality for the poem. For instance, the initial W and B sounds in when I was 1 and I had just begun in the first stanza. The third one is consonant doubling. Consonant doubling is evident in the poem, such as LL in nearly new and the DD in hardly me. These doubled consonants give the lines a more forceful sound. Moreover, the vowel length variations are really obvious in this poem, and such as the short I in begin and the long A in alive. This variation adds diversity and interest to the poem. Also, some words in the poem use hyphens such as nearly and hardly, which facilitates smoother transitions between words and easier listening. Lastly, I want to talk about, and there are no obvious onomatopoeic words in the poem. Onomatopoeic words in the poem. Mimetic words like new and alive invoke sounds that help readers better feel the emotions and states the author's wish to convey. So, in conclusion, I think through these phonetic elements, children can better appreciate the phonetic beauty and literary value of this poem. Thank you. Shooting, so now I'm doing the week 5 provocation, and I think my story is just a one-day tour to the State Library of South Australia. And I mean, in this daytime tour, I study in the library. Also, I go out to look for beautiful cars exhibition, and also have my lunch with cute animals. And then I come back to find a really interesting book. It's really gorgeous. So I think the reflection I can make is, in this video, I want to talk about making a media like the digital text. I think it allows me to combine many elements in one video. So, for example, the written and linguistic. It contains the written language, also, some vocabularies inside, and some phrases and structure. Also, the audio, I include some music and sound effects. What's more is visual elements. Include color, page layouts, and shot framing. Also, subject distance and angle. Moreover is gesture. And one photo showing my body language is just studying and using the computer, showing the stillness and angles of myself. Lastly is the spatial elements, including environmental spaces and use of proximity. So I think it's a kind of multimodal. It means a combination of 2 or more modes in a variation combinations. So for the future teaching strategies, I think I also want to discuss about this topic because it's really important for me as I'm going to become an early childhood teacher. So I'm always thinking about the Australian curriculum. It articulates an expanding view of tests. It says tests can be written, spoken, visual, multimodal, and in print of digital online forms. Also, when I do the reading, it says reading and writing are no longer just linear and static. It's no longer a linear experience, but dynamic with the advent of hypertext. So I found I can use digital text to express my thoughts, knowledge, and understanding to my future students. Also, I can also let my students use these kinds of tools to let them more engaged in the learning activities and help them to get to know about the skills and make them operate the skills better in a proper way to improve their digital and visual literacy. I think by promoting these qualities, our students will have richer learning experience and also a greater interest in learning.